Hi, everyone. This is Mr. Holder here. I'm the band teacher this year at Centennial and Madison and McKinney and Pioneer, and I also teach band at Washington Middle School. I thought I'd do a quick little video for students and families to talk a little bit about band in middle school. What's that like? How is it different from band in fifth grade? How do we choose classes? Things like that, because I think that's happening this week or next week. It's happening soon. We have to start thinking a little bit about middle school class registration and things like that. So, most places, most middle schools around the country, there's 6 classes per day. That's a pretty standard way that they do the schedules, and it's like that in our school district as well. So whether you're going to Washington or you're going to Reeves or another middle school, there's 6 classes that you'll have each day. Most schedules, depending on there might be some little variation, but for most kids, most schedules will have 6 classes. And it'll be these 6, some sort of a math class, some sort of an English or English language arts, ELA class that's writing and reading and things like that, some sort of a social studies class, a science class, that's 4, a PE and or health class, that's 5. And then most places you get an elective class. So an elective, what the heck is an elective? An elective is a class that students get to choose. So it's you get some choice. Those other 5 classes you usually don't get to choose. Those are classes that every student needs to take. But they in middle school, one of the fun things is you get to choose an elective class. And again, most schools like Washington and Reeves offer 3 choices for electives. They're usually music electives, and that's band, choir, or orchestra. So typically, kids that were involved in band in the fifth grade will continue in band. Kids that were involved in orchestra in the fourth and fifth grade will continue in orchestra. Kids that didn't do either one of those, or kids that really like to sing, will go into the choir. And there are some other elective choices that change from year to year at each of these schools. So, and again, it's different at each school, different for each year, depending on who's teaching and how many students there are and how the enrollment numbers look. So that's a little more of a wild card to know exactly what those classes are going to be, who will be teaching them. But the classes that are always offered are band, choir, and orchestra. So, what is band like in middle school? Band would be one of your 6 classes that meets for around 60 minutes each day. So, every day you would come to band for one of your classes. For example, this year at Washington Middle School, band is my second period class. So, I teach band second period, and that's 6th grade band. So you'd have a class first period, and then as a 6th grader, around, when first period's over, you'd come down to the band room and we'd have about a 60-minute time to do band. And so it's great because we get 5 days a week of about 60 minutes of band. So we're able to make some pretty good progress pretty quickly. Okay, so these are some questions I get most years. So, what if I didn't do band in fifth grade? Can I still be in band in middle school? Yes, no problem. New students start band in 6th grade all the time. Sometimes it's because they transfer in from another school district that didn't offer band in fifth grade. Sometimes it's just kids that weren't aware that band was an option in fifth grade. Kids that knew it was an option but decided not to do it, and now they're thinking, "Gosh, that looked like fun." So we start kids and new students in band in 6th grade all the time, and it works great. And especially the situation we've had this year with doing remote learning and all the crazy schedules that have been happening, it's a great time to join band in 6th grade because we're going to have kids at all different levels starting in 6th grade next year. Okay, well, what if I did band in fifth grade, but then I had to stop for some reason, or I chose to stop for some reason? No problem. Sort of new students start band in 6th grade all the time. So if you were in band for part of the year, you signed up for band, you got excited about it, and then learning band on Zoom was just kind of a disaster for you. It didn't work. You couldn't remember what the classes were. You started and you stopped, and it got frustrating. That oftentimes doesn't mean that band isn't your thing or you're not musically talented, or it just means that it didn't work this year. And the schedule in fifth grade band is often a little bit complicated to make work. Again, in 6th grade, you've got band as one of your classes that you just come to every day. So it's kind of hard to mess that up. You just go to the next class, and there I am ready to teach you music. So if you did band for part of the year and you got frustrated, it didn't quite make sense, or you got busy, or you just couldn't quite stand to get on another Zoom call in the afternoon, um, sort of new students can be in band next year in sixth grade as well. Okay, it's then some more nitty-gritty questions. Yes, you'll need an instrument if you're in band. Most families will rent an instrument from one of the local music stores. You can purchase an instrument. Some families even have an instrument that they've already purchased, maybe from an older brother or sister, or a cousin or aunt or an uncle. And we do, if your family's in a tough financial situation and that those renting and purchasing options don't work for you, the school district does have some instruments that you can use. Okay, here's the big question I always get. What do we play? What are the choices that we can play? So in fifth grade, we've limited the choices this year to flute, clarinet, trumpet, and trombone, just because we're teaching on Zoom and we're starting brand new people and we're only seeing them a couple times a week for half an hour. It's really tricky to start a bunch of instruments. But when we see kids for an hour, 5 times a week, we can sort of open up the possibilities and have a greater variety of instrument choices. So those are the instruments we can start: flute, clarinet, trumpet, trombone, French horn, saxophone, percussion, baritone, tuba, bass clarinet, oboe, bassoon. Here's a couple of them. Here's a flute. I'll run through some tunes for you. So that's what a flute sounds like. Clarinet. There's your clarinet. Saxophone. There's some saxophone for you. Trumpet. Here's trombone. And I even have a baritone here at the school, kind of a mini tuba. So those are just some of the instrument choices that you would have in sixth grade band. So you can see it's tons of fun. We can play all sorts of fun tunes. And those tunes, all the tunes that I just played for you, are things that we've even learned some of those in fifth grade band, and we could certainly learn all the notes to play those in sixth grade band. So give band a try in middle school. It's tons of fun. And again, if you're going to Washington, you'll see me again. That's where I teach band. Mr. Grosstick teaches band at Reeves Middle School. And actually, if you move somewhere else, most middle schools everywhere have a band. So even if you're moving out of the district or moving to a different part of Olympia, you can find a band in middle school, and it's a great thing to continue. And I always tell kids, if you did band in fifth grade, give it a shot in middle school. Some of these other elective choices that might sound like fun, you can always come back to those. Let's say band is awful. It's horrible in sixth grade. It's just, why did I ever take this class? You don't have to take it in seventh grade. It's an elective. It's a choice. So if you decide in seventh grade, I didn't really like that, you still have all those other elective choices in seventh grade. But if you choose to do an elective other than band in sixth grade, and then you decide, I think I really miss band, and come back to it in seventh grade, that's going to be tricky because we'll be a whole year ahead of you. So I always tell people the best recommendation, if you're thinking, I think I might want to do band, but I'm not sure, do it, give it a shot, because it's really tricky to get back in later, and you don't want to miss out on the fun we're having. If you have any questions about band in middle school, even if you're not going to Washington, if you're going to Reeves, or if you're moving out of town somewhere else, please feel free to give me a call or an email, rather. There's my email down there, kholder@osd.wednet.edu. Let me know if you have any questions about the registration process, how it works. If you've already done the registration and you're just watching this after the registration, most schools, you can just give the counselor a call or an email, send them an email, to let them know, hey, we missed out on signing up for band. It's something we'd really like to do. And usually they can make that change. And again, I'm happy to help you with that. If you need help doing that, you can send me an email and I can get you contacted with the right person. Okay, thanks so much for watching, and hope to see a lot of you in class next year in band. Thanks a lot.